Hi everyone and welcome back. Wow. It doesn't it feel kind of odd to you guys like working from home? And it makes me wonder like, okay, when this pandemic passes over, if it will ever pass over, what will life be like returning to the office full time? Like, that's gonna be weird. But it seems like it's gonna happen in a progressive stage where we might go to the office like, let's say, 2 days out the week, 3 days out the week, 4 days out the week, so on and so on, just like how they're doing the reopening. So slowly, certain stores are starting to reopen. So they kind of ease us back into a sense of normalcy or whatever. But it seems like, just thinking about it, it seems kind of weird, like the idea of, okay, this isn't going to last forever, or is it? Because I'm just loving working from home. But I actually went to the office today, so I'm on my break right now. And I wanted to talk to you guys about a very serious topic on mental illness displayed across social media. Like, it's kind of bothersome if you ask me, because I'm seeing it more and more. It's come up recently on my platform. It's come up on other people's platform, other social media influencers, and it's like kind of disturbing in a way. You guys know I work in the field of mental illness, right? Mental health, let's say, mental wellness. But I do work with a population who have significant psychological disturbances, disorders, developmental disorders, or just a range of issues. And by the way, I do have this glass, not of wine, because of course I would not be drinking wine during these hours, but this is actually a glass of tea that I made. I made like a big serving of elderberry tea yesterday, and I let it cool. I put it, of course, in the refrigerator, let it cool. So I'm glad the way it came out. It tastes so good, and I love the way elderberry tastes, period, but it just tastes really good like in the tea form. So I decided to put it in this beautiful glass because I just like being fancy. But it's sweet, and I made it with ginger too, so it has like a pinch of ginger in it. But yeah, it kind of concerns me seeing that people are like regurgitating their mental illness all over Facebook, and they're not aware of it. That's, to me, this disturbing thing about it, right? It's very disturbing to see like people how can I put this, right? How can I put this? Because granted, like, I think the good thing about mental illness is that we all, to a certain extent, have a degree of mental disturbance, right? Or dysfunctionality as far as our mental health, mental and emotional health is concerned. I think we all do, right? No one is perfect. Some of us have a more significant distress than others, or disturbance than others. And it's clearly seen on social media. Like, I think they say relationships are a great tool to kind of trigger these emotional disturbances. You can really be able to see like what lies beneath the surface of an individual as they relate to people interpersonally, right? But I think even more so on social media, like, people, you can't really hide it. Ironically, you would think you would, right? Because you can like put on this persona, but it comes out, I think, so easily because of this idea on social media that you are behind a profile, and hiding behind that profile, I think people inadvertently kind of release their demons. They release parts of themselves that they're not really aware that is happening, that they're releasing, right? And it's very telling to me. So I want to talk about that briefly in this video of what I've seen. You guys know that I am a vlogger. I talk about a range of topics. Many can be very controversial. I get it. Some people just aren't equipped to be able to have a respectful, intelligible conversation on a lot of the topics that I bring to social media. But for those who are, I welcome it. I welcome you guys' opinions and difference of perspectives. Like, I'm all open to it. I love it. In fact, I actually made a post on Facebook recently about how it like irks me, right? I think it's annoying, but it's funny at the same time. Like when guys, especially in dating, say, "Oh, what's your favorite color?" For me, that question is so mundane. It is, because I'm like, I would rather have a more relevant conversation, more thoughtful, more substantial conversation, like more meaty, like, to me, asking me what's my favorite color is not really going to stimulate a deep-seated conversation, I think. Unless, of course, we get very creative with it, but it generally does, and I feel like that's a safe way to go, right? So for me, I just think that I'm the kind of person, not just in dating relationships, but in general, and professionally, on social media, like, I like to talk about things that are touchy, are taboo, are difficult to talk about. But I bring it to you guys. And recently, not just recently, but I talk about this across the board, right? Like sex, BDSM, alternative lifestyles, different taboo topics within, sexual relationships. And I talked about, this was like a video I posted a while back on, does size matter? And I love talking about this, you guys, because I see that a lot of people can relate to this topic. It affects many of us, women and men. And I think it's important to see and consider both sides of the coin. So that's the reason why I put it out there. And I like that men are very honest. A good number of men are very honest about their size. They're just like, you know what? Lacking down there. I admit I may not thoroughly please my woman, so therefore I engage in the cuckold lifestyle, right? We're bringing another man. Like, they're aware of themselves. They have a degree of self-awareness, which I think works well on social media, right? So not everybody on social media is fucked up, right, in the head, right? I feel like a good number of people have a degree of self-awareness, and that's sexy for a man to know who he is and to be in control of himself, right? But then you do have a good number of people, and it's not just gender specific to men. This is men and women too. I think that they get triggered by certain things posted on social media, and they just throw it all up, right? And it's just like, it's so ugly, because it's just like, you don't have to react that way. Like, why? And sometimes it makes me concerned, and I get worried about people. Like, I feel for people deeply who are suffering on the inside, and it shows on social media. Like, they cannot hide it, right? Because they get triggered by certain topics, like, does size matter? And we know what size we're talking about. It's like, come on. Like, I really encourage people to seek help. Get a therapist, man. Like, don't get on social media if you know you got some shit going on, right? If you know you're sick, because it comes out. People get into this back and forth, arguing with people on social media. I am not the one to get caught up in those enactments, because people will pull you into an enactment, right? Where you may make a post, and then they make a reply or a comment to your post, and it's like a whole essay, and they're clearly triggered and talking in all caps, and they're going off, calling you out your name. Anytime you see somebody calling somebody out their name, then you know that they're triggered. Like, you know that you have tapped into something within themselves, right? Within the other person, that perhaps they haven't quite healed from. They're still dealing with. Maybe they could be avoiding it, but it's still something, it's still an issue that's present in their lives. And it has nothing to do with you. It goes all the way back to whatever happened to them. And this is the issue with mental illness, is like, you know that there's something mentally and emotionally wrong with a person because their reaction to what you post far supersedes what you posted. It's just like it's not even proportionate to what you're saying. The reaction, it doesn't cause for all of that, basically. Right? There's nothing wrong with people stating a difference in perspective. Like I said, I welcome that. I love to see people giving me a difference in perspective in a respectful way, right? Because it broadens the conversation. And it also, like, for me, I like a challenge. You know, like, I'm willing to go and have a healthy debate with the person, right, online. But when people's feelings get involved, and then they start the name calling, and they start casting these evil spells and saying all these negative things, or I wish you die, and it's just like, why? How can little old me make you feel so angry? People are carrying a lot of anger and hurt with themselves, and it comes out on social media, even though they think they can hide behind these screens, but they can't. They're hiding behind a profile picture that's not even of themselves, and you just see, like, you see their bare soul. You see through all of that facade. Like, you see right past it. And you see that they're just hurt. They're a hurt person. It's just like, I feel for those people. I feel for people like that. Because how they show up on your page or your post on social media is pretty much how they show up in their life with other people. And we know no one really wants to be around that. Like, who would want to be around a person that miserable and that projects all of this negativity out onto you or onto a person just because of a disagreement, just because of a difference in perspective? Like, they're so fragile, right? It reminds me of a little baby in a pre-operational stage. Like, they're not able to think concretely or abstractly, for that matter, and to think logically about a certain topic and have an intelligible conversation. They cannot see that other people have a difference of perspective. Like, people can have a different opinion than your own. It's okay. And it doesn't mean this person, like, it doesn't mean like they're out to get you. It's almost as if people get on social media, right? And they see that people disagree with them. And so from that disagreement, they get triggered. Because it takes them back to a place as if they're being attacked. It's like a threat to their sense of identity, sense of who they are as a person, as a human being. And they see you as this enemy, like you're out to get them. This happened to me recently, and this person, not only did they begin to spew all this negativity in the comment section on my YouTube video, and I got to a point where I said, you know what, like, I'm open to a difference of perspective, but when it gets to the point of disrespect, like, you know what, I'm just gonna remove you from my space, because it's not conducive to building a conversation. Like, it's just useless babble, right? It's garbage, and it's not wanted on my platform. So I ended up blocking this person on YouTube, and this person comes all the way over on Facebook. Like, how did they find my Facebook? Because my Facebook isn't really attached to my YouTube channel. But this person found my Facebook, probably somehow went to my About section on YouTube, saw my website, went to my website, then found my Facebook page through my website. It's like, that's doing too much. Just to come onto my Facebook page and spew the same amount of negativity, just angry. Like, why are you angry? Angry at me for a video on penis size? I'm just like, it's beyond me, yo. People take things what you say personally. It's just like, when I made the video, I don't even know you guys. So if I say something in the video that triggers you, it's okay to say your perspective, right? To share your thoughts on it. But to take it personal, like as a personal attack, like I made a video specifically targeted towards you. I don't know, you guys, you know? And I've seen this, like I said, not only on my platform, but on other like social media influencers platform, the same situation. Like people are sick. People are hurting. People are depressed and extremely anxious. They're going through a lot. And to bring that to social media, like it just magnifies the issue even more. And it makes you appear very ugly, right? Because you're spewing all this negativity and you're name calling and you're doing this. And I'm just like, we need to be careful before we get on social media. And the same person that followed me on Facebook, like I go to click on their profile because it makes me curious. This is like, okay, what kind of person is this, right? And basically, their profile confirms my conceptualization of who they are. It's like, okay, it makes sense now. For this person to, even in their post saying they use social media as a journal, and every other post are talking about how depressed they are, I'm like, wow, bingo, it makes sense. So I'm making this video because I think it's very important that we do address mental illness. I like to speak of it in terms of mental wellness, right? From a positive psychology perspective. But it is mental illness, though. Let's just call it as it is. It's a mental disturbance that a lot of people are experiencing. They take to social media as a means to deal with their problems, to gain support for their problems, and they get into these enactments with people. They draw people into these enactments when they go back and forth, and it's like recreating this dramatic scene that they experienced with the person that caused them pain and trauma, and they bring other people into that, and you're like, what am I doing? I don't have time to go back and forth with a person. Like, I would just remove you from my space, you know. And I encourage other social media influencers to do the same. I'm pretty sure I don't have to tell you this. You guys already know this. You probably already do it yourself. I'm sure that you come across people who aren't just like, they're not mentally stable, and it's very clear. It takes a person who is clearly mentally unstable to basically stalk you on social media. Go from one social media platform to another, to another, to another, to spew negativity. It's like, what is your goal? What are you gaining? What is the outcome of it? What is the purpose? What's motivating you? They lack emotional regulation because they can't control their impulses. They have an impulse to just type, and stalk you on social media, going from one platform to the next. It's like, yo, we have only 24 hours in a day, and really, after sleep, it's only 16 hours in a day. But you choose to spend how much time? How much time do you choose to spend spewing negativity on someone else's post? It's like, come on. Something has to be wrong. They're seeking attention, but in a maladaptive way. And like I said, my heart goes out to people like that. Like, get help, man. Not on social media. Maybe, okay, you might be able to find some resources, because we know that there are therapists, there are doctors, there are healthcare providers on social media, so maybe you can get a resource through social media, a couple of resources through social media, so you can get the help that you need. But social media isn't a place for you to just throw up and regurgitate all of this negative energy that you have, because it's not going to be received well. And it's going to make your condition worse. What's up, Rodrigo? It's going to make your mental condition worse, right? It's not going to help you. You need a safe space where you can get the support that you need. And to realize that some people come on social media seeking emotional support, seeking therapy, using social media as a journal talking about their depression. It's like, okay, yes, there are support groups for that, unless it's a safe space on social media for you to do that, right? But when you come on a general open platform like mine, right, or other social media influencers, and of course you see it's a very triggering video, like, the best thing for you to do is just to leave. Why engage yourself in that, right? Because you can't handle the discussion. It's not for you to handle. I talk about some very triggering topics. I'm talking about things that trigger people's emotional trauma, psychological, and sexual trauma. And if you haven't dealt with that, some of my videos just aren't for you. I urge you, find something else to watch. Because you're going to get triggered. You're going to become angry. You're going to look at me as this evil woman that I'm not, and it doesn't mean well for anybody involved, right? It doesn't solve anything. It's pointless. That's my whole point. It's just pointless. You're wasting your time. Your time is better well spent somewhere else watching a different video. Because I don't think that you're at the point of your healing process to be able to watch videos where you become triggered. That's your responsibility, right? You can't sit up here and point fingers at me and be like, oh, this video is disgusting, you're triggering me, and you are the problem. Like, no, you can't. Who are you to get on somebody else's platform and try to dictate what kind of content they create? I'm going to create whatever content I feel motivated to create based on my following, people who support me, based on what they want to see. It's not for you. Go somewhere else. But given that you've shown yourself and you've revealed yourself to the world based on your public comment that you left on a public platform, it's very clear that you get some help, man. Get some help. My heart goes out. Like I said, you guys know I've been working in the field of mental health for a while. And I know mental illness when I see mental illness, even when it's typed out on social media. It's very clear. We all can identify it. I think most of us can identify it. When something is a little bit off, it's just like, okay, come on. For you to, make your perspective known in a comment, then you keep coming back. Like, you have some people will post the same exact comment on every single post that you have. Like, that is a degree of insanity. It's clearly something wrong. It's clearly something wrong. Get some help. Men and women. It's sad. I want you guys to share your perspective here on this video. Let me know what you think about this. Many of us can relate. Many of us have come across people on social media that is clear that something is off. Do not, all right, if you're on the receiving end of a person who is severely or moderately, the slightest bit of mentally or emotionally disturbed, like, pause for a minute, right? Do not get caught up, because it's clear when something seems a little bit off. This is my precautionary tale to you guys. When you get a comment on your post, right? Because not everybody is a vlogger, but most of us, we do post, we share things, right? When you get a comment on any of your posts, you get that notification, you go and check, and you see, like, you read it, and you're like, what? Just pause for a minute. You got to pause. Do not reply. Don't be quick to reply. Just pause for a minute. Because you can learn a lot about a person and their intention, their motivation for their comment and what they're really saying which oftentimes is not about you or your post. It says a lot about them as a person. This is a man, the person I'm talking about in particular, this is a man who has mommy issues. It's clear. He has issues with women, which usually typically derive from childhood. Your own freaking relationship with your own maternal figure, yo. It has nothing to do with me. I just triggered, something about me triggers that, right? Because something about me maybe correlate to what you went through with that particular person. But it doesn't mean that I'm a bad person. Yeah, I'm very vocal. I'm outspoken. You know, I'm bold. I can be bossy. You know, but it's just like, yo, check yourself. I am not going to waste my time going back and forth. So I encourage you guys, don't do it. Don't get caught up. I've been at this social media thing for a long time now. A long time. And I just sit and I observe and I watch. And it's not for us. When we notice these things are off in people, it's not for us to go and say, oh, you need to go get help. Because they're not going to listen anyway. They're going to take it as you trying to attack them. They already feel attacked. So for you to tell them, oh, you need to get help, they're going to feel even more attacked and be on the defense, right? How can these people get help, though? Right? It has to be coming from like a middle person that has nothing to do with the post. Let that person know, like comment and do it in a private way, not like to embarrass them publicly. Send them a message, yo. People need to be checked up on. All of this like attention-seeking behavior, when you're seeing people leaving all of these long-ass comments and they furious and they're doing the angry face on all of your posts, like, yo, you know that's something crazy when a person go on all of your posts and just do the angry, like, gang, what? What is wrong? Are you okay? Because there's nothing that I've said could have made you that angry, yo. Seriously. I know my videos can be controversial, but I know I'm a very sweet person. There's nothing I say to make somebody that angry. Makes you wonder, like, are you okay? Because it goes to show their ego is very fragile, very weak, and they only can take but so much. Very little that they can take. That's what I'm saying. Social media ain't for them. Because social media, yo, we know social media can be something else, and it's not for the weak-minded. It's just not. You're going to get easily offended by things, and you're going to go and do something that you're going to regret. You're already living life on the edge anyway before you get on social media, because you got stuff in your personal life that you haven't dealt with. Then you get on social media and you come across these posts that push your buttons. That's enough though. I'm just going to end it right there. But comment below if you guys have thoughts, comments, concerns. Drop them below and I'll catch you guys later.